Now, I want to take you back in time, Guy. You'll have
Okay.
been watching, I don't know, Artemis 2.
Yes, I didn't see it live, but I've watched it on
No,
playback. Very good.
quite dramatic. I mean, I don't remember, I don't remember Artemis 1. Did you see, when did Artemis 1 go up?
Hmm. No, I'm afraid I don't know. I don't know.
Anyway, do you know who Artemis was?
Was he a Greek god?
He was uh,
God of
Greek
rockets?
goddess, well, close, goddess of the moon and
Mhm.
twin sister, twin sister of Apollo. So that's where it
That's
comes
really
from.
cool. I did wonder where the name came from.
Ah, well, there you
I
are.
was thinking,
See?
is it an aftershave? But that was Aramis, wasn't it?
That was Aramis, yeah. Aramis, he was one of the three musketeers, wasn't he?
He was, yeah.
I'm quite
He
sure
was.
he would have smelt as good as the Ara-
Not in those
Ara-
days.
Aramis. That was in the days. I'm digressing now, but when we had those wonderful adverts at Christmas, didn't we, with the high karate and all that. Aramis seems to have disappeared now, doesn't it? You don't wear
You
it
can still
anymore,
get
do you?
it. No, one of the kids
Can you?
had it. Yeah,
Did they?
and they haven't changed it. It's exactly the same. It was like walking back 30 years ago. It was high
Wonderful.
end, wasn't it?
It
So
was.
high karate was the cheap stuff, but Aramis was high end. It was
Yeah.
when blokes started to wear perfume properly.
Yeah. Before that, there was only Old Spice. That was the only one.
Old
Anyway,
Spice, yeah.
yeah.
Anyway, sorry, we digress a
porcelain
bit.
bottle. We're digressing. I wanted to talk to you about Apollo because I want you to cast your mind back to the halcyon days of 1969. Apollo 11. Do you remember?
Yes. Yeah. Is that the moon landing? Is that the moon
landing? It is the moon landing,
Yeah.
the first moon landing.
Okay.
I didn't realize. How many moon landings do you think there were? How many times
That's
do
a
you think we landed
fantastic
on the
question.
moon?
I'm going to go 6.
Exactly right. 24, and they've all been white men. 24 white men have landed on the moon. It's astonishing, really, at the end of the day. Because I think most people, when they talk about them, they talk exactly in a singular about the moon landing as opposed to the moon landings, the last one of which was in December 1972.
Was it really
3
that long
years,
ago?
Yeah. And we've really, I was talking to my other half about this, we've really not done a lot since then. We had the shuttle program, which was shuttling.
Yes, well, someone had the bright idea that if you're going to spend all this money on the thing, you might as well get it back.
Yeah.
And then that was amazing, wasn't it? It used to land at the end, or it used to be transported on like a jumbo jet.
Yeah, on the back of a jumbo jet.
Yeah, amazing.
But it never went far, did it, the shuttle? It was like the Busy Bee bus in Brighton. It sort of toppled around and came back to the centre.
Might have been a bit more significant than that, but I get the.
It didn't go to the moon, though, did it?
It didn't.
And we gave up. I think we all thought back in those days when we landed on. Now, I'm going to ask you a question now. Do you remember watching the moon landing when
I tell
the
you
first
where,
one?
I think it was during the day, and I seem to remember in West Hove Junior School in Hove, sitting on the floor, legs crossed in rows like you used to, in the assembly hall with this massive TV. It would have been black and white, obviously.
Yeah.
I just seem to remember that and watching it as a school.
Well, that's exactly what I was going to say to you, because they must have done that in a uniform fashion then, because it was actually in the middle of the night, UK, that it happened. But they repeated the whole thing the following day.
Right. Okay.
And I think they must have sent the message out. They wouldn't have sent it by internet in those days, but somebody must have got on the phone to all the schools around the country and said they're showing this on the, or somebody in each school maybe made the decision that it'd be a good idea. It's such a momentous occasion that they get all the kids. I mean, I was at a school in Hove as well, same as you were, and I can remember we were all trooped into the school hall, and exactly as you said, we're cross-legged on the floor. Do kids sit on the floor anymore? I'm not sure.
I don't know. I went to an assembly with my grandchildren in a junior school, and they have chairs now. We've progressed a little bit.
We have, yeah.
I think that's the problem. We should make kids sit on the floor.
Yeah,
it would sort of
gives them a bit of
grounding, literally.
Well, exactly. Yeah, made us stern stuff. So we were sat on the floor watching. We had a little black and white television in the hall. It was only a small hall. And I can remember the headmaster, a gentleman called Mr. Ralph. I never knew what his first name was, but he used to suck tree ball mints and say, I can remember him saying, because we used to go in there and be read stories as well. A normal day, we'd go in there and he'd make up a story. But he used to suck tree ornaments, but he used to tell all the kids they were tablets so that he wouldn't have to give anybody else mints.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I digress. Now, around that time, 1969, I was trying to think when I was watching Artemis take off, how optimistic things seem to be in this country from my recollection. It all seemed to be, looking back, and I know we were much, much younger, but it always seemed to be bright and sunny. It was around the time in this country that we had the Beatles, and we had not the same, but the miniskirt and Mary Quant and everything. London Swings. Do you remember London Swing? London Swings Like a Pendulum Do. And it was so much brighter. And do you remember the Fanfare for the Common Man was the piece of music that introduced the BBC's coverage of the moon landing? Did you ever? You ever watch that?
Now you've mentioned it. Yes, I remember. As always with your impression, Sean, as if we were there. I do remember that. Yes, a very good ditty. Yeah,
and
he was Stars at Night, wasn't it?
He was the Stars at Night. Was it the Stars at Night?
Yeah, he introduced
the Sky at Night. The Sky at Night.
The Sky at Night. He introduced a whole new audience to astronomy, didn't he? And
he did.
And it's difficult. If any of our listeners are under maybe 55, they're thinking, what are they waffling on about? But this guy was a real character, wasn't he? A real character. Absolutely loved what he did.
This light green suit that was 5 times too big for him, didn't he? Do you remember he used to?
Yeah.
He was in there somewhere. And he played the glockenspiel as well, didn't he?
Oh, yeah. It was a Christmas time.
Yeah.
Glockenspiel. Okay.
But what he didn't know about astronomy wasn't worth knowing, was it, at the end of the day? I've got that the right way around, isn't it? Astronomy, not astrology, because that's the thing with all those water carriers and all that jazz, isn't it?
Yeah, what your star sign is. Yeah, it's astronomy.
Astronomy, yeah.
But he had us all, so go and watch out for the plough, and you go, can't see a flipping thing.
Lie on the floor and see the North Star, yeah.
But there's the bear's nose. Oh, thanks very much. And you think, well, this look like a load of stars to me. But yes. No, you're right. It's very positive. I think the difference is life was much simpler then. I think the reality is, if you look at standards of living were lower, housing quality was worse.
Well, I'll come on to that in a minute.
Yeah.
Standards of living. Standards of living. No, because I've got a bit more to
No, that would be interesting. But as children, as a 9-year-old, life was simple, wasn't it? You got up, you went to school, came home, played with your friends, and then you repeat. So what have you got? What else have you got then?
Well, I'll come on to that in a minute. But who was in charge then? Who was the president and who was the prime minister? Yeah.
Oh, God, I'm going to struggle with this. I'm no good on presidents. I want to go
back
to.
I'm going back to
this
Nixon.
I'm going back to Nixon.
It is Nixon. And you remember Nixon actually had a phone call with Neil Armstrong on the moon.
I do remember that.
And go on. Sorry, who was the prime minister?
Prime minister's Wilson, isn't it?
Wilson. It was Harold Wilson. Yeah. Who kept us? And there were parallels between now and then, who kept us out of the Vietnam War.
He did.
He wouldn't have anything to do with it. Supposedly going to be a big breakdown in relations with regard to NATO, but obviously we overcame that. We sailed through that, and we didn't have that particular issue. Britain was insulated from what was going on in Vietnam, and of course, the Americans were heavily engaged. In hindsight, I think most people would suggest that was a war that was a bit of a mistake on the part of the Americans.
No question.
Yeah. So we also had some of the other things. We had the Summer of Love. That was around that time.
Ooh.
England, of course, at that point, were still world champions.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Good point.
So maybe, hopefully, we can do that in reverse come this summer. Fingers crossed. And I can't remember. Did I ask you how many times they'd landed on the moon?
6. You did.
6, yeah. So moving on to wages, 1969. So what do you think the average UK weekly wage was?
Right. I'm going to go for 21.
Not far off. It's a little bit higher. £23, 18 shillings and threepence.
Oh, I'll
we
take
weren't
that.
decimal then.
Oh, no. Old
We weren't
money.
decimal.
Old
Yeah,
money.
yeah, yeah.
I used to like the threepenny bits.
The old Trotney bit, yeah, yeah. The old Robin on the back, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Or
that's it. You
portcullis,
got it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And how do you think that compared to average weekly wage in the States? How much?
Now, that's a good question. I would imagine, I'm going to say the average weekly wage in the States, probably a little bit more, bigger economy even then. I'm going to say theirs was 29.
Or a bit more than that,
Go on.
even then. £47.92.
Is it really? So it's actually similar to now then, isn't it?
Double
Yeah.
the British wage. But bearing in mind, I mean, the piece that I got all this information from quite rightly pointed out that there are overheads that you have to pay in the States that you don't have to pay over here. So this is a gross wage. So it's before you've paid any healthcare insurance or whatever if your company doesn't cover
that's
it.
true.
So,
That is true. That is true.
There's and exchange rate at the time. How many
Oh,
dollars were there to the
right.
pound?
I'm going to go. Are we over 2? I'm going to go over 2.
We are over 2. We're not in Brecon Woods at the time. I think we've broken with Brecon Woods. I remember Brecon Woods was 5 to the pound. I don't think
I'm
it was
going to
anywhere near that.
I'm going to go $2.30.
Cool, you're very close. 2.40 to the pound.
Yeah,
So,
I know my money,
yeah.
Sean. I know my money.
To be $2.40 to the pound today, you get a nice holiday in the States.
It'd be a very good holiday in the States.
And before we wrap up on this particular issue, and obviously speed to the three,
The crew.
four on Artemis, of which they're breaking boundaries as well, aren't they? They're going, as Trump has said, they're going the furthest away from Earth that any aircraft or any rocket has ever been. They've got a man of colour on board. It's the first time they've been that. They've also got a woman. The first time they've had a woman apparently as well. So Godspeed to them. Some of the other things that were happening at the time. Do you remember Hair? Do you remember Hair, the musical?
Oh, I thought you meant. I do remember Hair. I've not got much these days. I thought that was a bit personal, Sean.
Paul Nicholas was in.
I remember
Paul
Hair.
Nicholas was in. Hair was the bit because it was, of course, the dawning of the age of Aquarius. That's where they were all leaping around with no clothes on.
Yeah,
Hair. Do you remember?
Yeah, good times.
Yeah, good. Absolutely. And I'll show you one other thing because I can remember my mum when I was thinking about this article. I thought, oh, crikey, have I got that upstairs? And I still have. And that's this. Do you remember these? Can you remember these?
Oh, the coins, the petrol coins.
Yeah, Man in Flight.
Fantastic.
Yeah, which goes right from Icarus and Daedalus right up to Armstrong, Aldrin.
And have you got them all?
And Collins. And I've got them
all.
Got them all? They're all in there.
Well, what's that worth?
I don't know. I haven't
particularly now.
Recently.
Do you know what?
Go on.
Go on. No, you go first.
To be fair, I had collected all these, and then at some point in the past, obviously it disappeared. And I was at a car boot sale, and this was on somebody's table, and I thought, well, I've got to have that just to take me back to when, because they did the World Cup as well, didn't they? Do you remember
always. What did you pay for it? Do you remember?
A couple of quid, I think, wasn't it?
I'm just wondering what you could sell it for now.
Wow.
Given the,
who knows? Yeah.
I just got one more thing before you wrap up on this. I am my biggest regret, because I have heard some of the radio communications, is the beep's gone. Used to go, Houston, this is Houston, beep, beep, beep. Neil Armstrong, are you there? I can see the earth, a lovely blue sea, beep. The beep's gone.
Did you? We could almost have been there, as you said.
I know.
You said you're employed by them to do the beep, were you?
No, but I reckon the beep was superimposed, because if the beep was needed, it'd be there now, wouldn't it?
Well, I suppose it would, yeah. Although it used to be on, at the third stroke, it will be 12:22 and 3 seconds precisely. Beep, beep. So I think beeps have been made redundant. Another dreadful causation of the last Conservative government.
No, it's the national insurance hike. That's what's happened.
Godspeed, Artemis.
Yeah, Godspeed, yeah.